My number one for MVP, who I actually think is going to win it, is Luka. I think Luka is going to win MVP. I've said it before. He's got so many ridiculous statistical seasons. Last season, basically averaging a 34-point triple-double. It would be so weird to me at the end of his career if he did not have at least one MVP sprinkled in there. I mean, there's a reason he's been the favorite for this award the last few years. I think coming off of a finals appearance, they've improved. I think this is the year where he gets his first MVP.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I really wouldn't. It was kind of I feel like he's fallen in kind of the same thing with what LeBron was when he was young. And it's just, hey, he's got time. He's got time. And then all of a sudden he wins a couple and then like, oh, voter fatigue. It's like he's won it too much. It's like he's won like only a couple, but he's been the best player for like the last like 7.
Yeah. I don't think that argument works. And I agree with you, Miles. I do think it's going to be Luka because that argument for he's got time doesn't work because he's 25. He's going into his 7th year already. And like, he doesn't have one yet in his 7th year, and he's doing things like averaging 34-point triple-doubles for an entire regular season. So I do think it is his time, and it is well-deserving and should get it this year. The only thing that would derail that is if the Mavericks somehow flop.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, you need to have a very good regular season typically to get this award, even though – you know, for a long time, the winner was basically, all right, best player on the best team gets it. A number 1 seed has not won, or a player on a number 1 seed has not won the MVP since 2020 when Giannis won his second one. We've had a 3rd seed. We've had a 6th seed. We've had a 2nd seed last year and then another 3rd seed, I believe, in there with Jokic winning 3 of those 4. It usually doesn't happen where the number 1 seed gets MVP, at least in the 2020s, which is counterintuitive to what had been the whole history of the league or the whole history of the award.
If they finish top 4, he could easily win it. Just top 4.
I remember at the end of the season last year, our argument was between Shea and Joker, and it was whoever was going to get the 1 seed was going to win it. That's what we all kind of were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't end up happening.
Yeah, I didn't kind of go by that.
I did.
I totally did.
I totally did.
I value winning. Sorry.
Well, they also tied. They had the same record.
Tiebreaker,
and Shea did hit the game winner. That was a good argument for Shea in against the Nuggets that year. So, but that was definitely close. I think it's going to be super close again this season. Joey, who's your MVP?
I do love Luka. I would love to see him win it. I truly do. But my pick is Ant Edwards. I had this written out before the trade went down, and I'm more confident in my answer now that the trade has went down. I think he's just going to carry this team to a top seed. Maybe not a 1 seed, but it may be a 2 seed. And if he does that, and to me, Cat is way better than Julius Randle, in my opinion.
Here's your guy,
Anthony
Edwards, who has time. This is your guy who has time. Anthony Edwards,
I know,
quote unquote, has time. The only reason he doesn't have time is because like Vic might win the award a couple years in a row, and that might close him out of it. So, I just think that it's going to be way too hard for Anthony Edwards to leapfrog the 4 guys ahead of him, which are Giannis, Joker, SGA, and Luka. Unless Minnesota just riles off 60 wins and he averages 30 on an efficient clip, but he hasn't really shown the ability to be as efficient as you need to be an MVP.
We'll see. That's why it's a prediction. We'll see. I believe that he's going to carry this team. The time argument, I only brought that up. I don't like that argument because when I was a kid, I hated it. I'm like, LeBron needs to win like every award because he's the best player on the planet.
And now we're here in 2024, and it's been 11 years since he won an MVP.
Literally, and everyone thought he was going to have 10 by this point. I'm like,
that's what you say about every player.
You got to give it to him now. You give him his props.
That's what you say about every player. That's just not how it works. That's just not how it works. The talent is too good in the league for sure.
That's why I'm saying I'm like, it's going to be one of those years because think about it. One of those years, and don't get me wrong, I love Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose was the youngest MVP winner. He got it over LeBron. And Edwards could get it over Luka, could have a similar situation.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it's a different argument because LeBron already had MVPs. Luka doesn't have any already in his 7th season. It is past due, in my opinion, as well. I agree.
I really think it's going to be SGA or Luka, and that it's going to be close between them. The only way I think someone else wins the award is if Giannis and Joker can be 55-plus win teams when they're not like supposed to be that. Like we've been talking about Denver a lot. Like they're struggling a little bit, and same thing with the Bucks. They're a bit of like a misguided franchise right now at this point, where they fired their coach last year, and everyone has them as like the 5th seed in the East. So if they exceed expectations and are like the 2 seed, Giannis is averaging 30 points and 12 rebounds, and he's going to have a good argument.
That's
why I've got Giannis as my 2 for sure. Because you talk about a guy with something to prove for sure. I think he's definitely up there on that list after back-to-back first-round exits. Even though he was injured, I think he's got a lot to prove, and that's why I also Dame and Giannis is the best duo. Jackson, who's your MVP?
Mine's SGA. I think he's going to separate himself from Luka. A, by the seeding of his team, and B, because people are going to be paying attention a lot to Luka's defense this year, and I think it's going to hinder him a lot. I think in the MVP conversations, whereas it's going to help Shea a lot. And I think that's why I don't hate the Ant pick. I just think he's gonna have to average 30+ for that. I could see it. I mean, everyone knows I'm an Ant believer. Ant's one of my favorite non-Rockets players. It's either him or Brunson. So
he's more of a dark horse for me as well. Like I could definitely see Luka, Shea, Joker, Giannis all winning it over Ant Edwards, like easily. Yeah. To me, like, that wouldn't be a shock. I wanted to pick a dark horse for this one because obviously those guys are in the conversation every single year.
Well, it's my job as a member of the podcast to
call me out.
Yep.
Fair. There you go. Thank you.
Based on my season standings predictions, I have a dark horse as well. I think if the Suns finish as the 2nd seed, I think Devin Booker is going to have a really good case because he showed, like I said, with the defense, he showed that he's a great defender. If they're the 2 seed, I think he's going to be the clear top guy on that team. And I think the voters are going to like if they're the 2 seed. I think they're going to kind of, that's why I have them finishing. So that's why.
Forgot. That's wild.
Oh, Booker, if the Suns finish high. No, if the Suns finish high, they should have Booker or Durant. Even if they're a third seed. I mean,
top 4 seed. Yeah, I agree.
Taking a look at Fox Sports, looking at the favorites for MVP, it is Luka at 1. Well, question for you guys. A guy that we haven't even mentioned in this is the guy who's won 3 of the last 4 MVPs, Nikola Jokic. Is voter fatigue a factor with him? Do you guys think this season? Because if the Nuggets are still really good and he puts up high numbers again, I feel like it'd be hard not to give him another MVP because he's just so good.
His path is more difficult than Luka or Shea, not just for the reason that they haven't won it before, but also because, like you said, well, I guess, for that reason. But I heard a really good argument about this earlier this morning, and they said that it's a very narrative-based award, the MVP. A lot of these awards are. And so the narrative for the upcoming season is set by who gets the award the prior year. Like that's when the narrative begins to form. So like Jokic got it last year, so now this year it's pretty much Luka versus SGA with maybe like Giannis mixed in there if he can pull his team out of exceed expectations. I thought that was a really interesting way to look at it.
I get it. It is different because at least for me, when I think of most valuable, like we talk about winning, my argument for last year between Joker and SGA was whoever gets the 1 seed. He's won, 3 out of 4, right, Miles?
Correct.
Yeah.
1 championship. You're a top seed every year, and you did it once. Not saying it's not it's not super difficult because it obviously incredibly is, but
well, I mean,
I know, and it is a regular season award. I'm just saying that along with voter fatigue, it's like, hey, man, we've given this guy the award 3 out of the 4 times. And the 1 year we didn't give it to him, he won the championship.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, like, MVPs usually don't win the championship that year. I think last one was probably Steph Curry in his first MVP 2015 was the last time an MVP won a championship that year. Doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely a tough one. But again, looking at Fox Sports, it has Luka at 1, Jokic 2, Shea, Giannis, and Edwards all makes a lot of sense. Tatum at 6. If the Celtics go out and win 70 games,
yeah,
something crazy,
it's gonna be hard not to put one of those guys on there.
Absolutely. Then Wemby is on this list already. Get out of here, dude.
Hey, well, think about it. If Coach Pop and the Spurs and Wemby and Chris Paul, and they win 45 to 50 games, and Wemby's averaging almost a quadruple double, you kind of have to give it to Wemby.
The problem is that's not going to happen.
I'm saying if.
That's a thing. If we're talking sleepers, Brunson is definitely a sleeper for this, especially if the Knicks are a high seed and Brunson puts up 29 and 6 or 7. That's about what he put up last year on efficient.
You know who else is a sleeper?
You.
Joel Embiid, technically.
Ben Simmons.
All right.
Conklin.